control. Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Audio courtesy of FanDuel Sports
Beef
Southeast.
I think Eric Collins, he's been doing this a long time.
Wow.
And you've heard him do over the years Ohio State football, and now he's become one of the prominent national basketball voices. And so I think it's the absolute perfect time to bring him on the Make It Right. Call Kyle Wright hotline. Eric, welcome to the show. We love having you on.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you so much. And just listening to that call, it doesn't make any sense. I'm a total TV guy. Sometimes what I say doesn't make sense on radio, it sounds like.
No, I thought it made sense. You're painting the picture with the television that already has the picture. What were you supposed to say? Because we play like the Tom Hamilton one with Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson. He's on the radio. He had to call it, and he's talking about lefts and rights, and down goes Anderson. Well, it's right there in front of you. I mean, if you wanted to do the Jim Lampley bang thing, you could have done that if you wanted to. But I thought it was great, Eric.
That actually came to my mind what Hammy did with Jose Ramirez, basically ending the career of Tim Anderson. That was totally in the forefront of my mind when that fight was breaking out.
Absolutely true.
Well, and I think you were like the perfect guy, the perfect play-by-play guy at the perfect time because, you are known for getting so excited during these games. That's what's awesome about, this sport in general. There's so many amazing moments. And then all of a sudden, you're calling a wrestling match / boxing match. And yeah, I know we don't want the Malice in the Palace to go down, but hey, breaks up the monotony of the regular season a little bit.
Hey, it was, I'm telling you, that Detroit team is fantastic. But I totally think that it's a fair fight nowadays with the Cavaliers, whether they're going to play the rest of the year. But that was kind of a big point for the Hornets. The Hornets had been, as Waylon Boot would have said, hotter than a tailpipe. We had a 9-game winning streak, and we're going great. And this was a great test for the Hornets. It was last Monday. And just to kind of go toe-to-toe and not be afraid of Beef Stew and Jalen Duren. I think the Hornets learned something from that, even though they lost a couple of guys for a couple of games. It was a fun evening, and it's a great testing point for the Hornets.
Eric, so I want to ask you a little bit about the Cavs. I want to get back to the Hornets because you see the whole NBA, and you're from here. I'm not trying to be a homer. I'm really not. I think a lot of people are laughing, but either way, they just won their 6th in a row, beat the brakes off the Nets. The Nets aren't that big of a thing. I'm just going to say I penciled in the Cavs to the finals. Am I right or am I wrong?
Why not? My best friend in the world is a Cleveland Heights guy, and we talk sports every single day, multiple times a day with texts. And when the Harden thing was going down, I was like, this is phenomenal. The guy's got so much tread left on his tire. I've seen him play a whole bunch this year. The guy's fantastic. He makes everyone better. And all of a sudden, you take Donovan Mitchell, still your number one with a bullet, but he slots everyone down a peg. And all of a sudden, people aren't worried about Evan Mobley being the next Giannis Antetokounmpo. He could just be your 3rd or 4th best option, which is unbelievable. Catching lobs, playing defense, being in the right spot at the right time. That's great, man. No one respectfully, no one's severely threatened when Evan Mobley has the ball 19 feet away from the basket. But when Evan Mobley is in the dunker spot 3 feet away from the hoop, all of a sudden everyone becomes dangerous on your entire team. And that's where he's going to be because James Harden is going to find him at the rim 18 times at the course of a game. I think this elevates the Cavs to no end. Now, defensively, I'm not 1,000% sure, but I just love what they've done. I think Harden's a winner. I think he understands big moments. There is no way the Cavaliers lose that game that they spit the bit in the playoffs last year against the Pacers when they had that big lead and then couldn't even inbound the ball, couldn't make a free throw, and that basically doomed their season. They win that game this year. James Harden is going to figure out a way to get a ball inbounded, to make a free throw, to make the right basketball play because he's a basketball savant and he elevates everything with the Cavaliers.
Yeah, so interesting. We're talking with Eric Collins right now, one of the big-time voices around the game of basketball. And you come on and you said all these unbelievably nice things about James Harden, somebody whose reputation, we have a producer here who's from Philly who's like, Harden's garbage. Like, why would you guys want him for the playoffs? And I'm like, have you watched, first of all, this guy's had massive playoff games. Yes, he's had big failures and big moments. But the key here is I think we are seeing an evolved version of James Harden that doesn't need the ball in his hands, doesn't need that heliocentric high usage rate. He doesn't need to do that. And so far, he has fit right into this offense.
Yeah, the proof's in the pudding, He's got something to play for. He still wants another contract. He's good friends with Donovan. There's like a total mesh there already. I think he's going to be on his best behavior. I think everyone when they first get James Harden falls in love with the guy because he really is an exceptional talent who understands how to win basketball games and play during big moments. Now, I'm not saying 3 or 4 years down the road there may be a bump or a hiccup, but for right now, what the Cavs needed, it is such a massive upgrade over injured players or indifferent players. And I just think that saves this season, and this season has a chance to still be special if you're a Cavaliers fan.
Do you think Evan Mobley, this is something we got into about yesterday, Eric, do you think Evan Mobley maybe takes it as a slight that his name just didn't really get brought up at all during All-Star Weekend when he's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year?
I don't know. I think Evan's got a healthy, professional respect around the league, and he's a fantastic player. He's a fantastic player. But I just don't think he is ever going to be the player, and it's no shade on him at all. But he's not Giannis. He's not even going to be Chris Bosh. He's not Kevin Garnett. He's a fantastic, fantastic player. But like I said, when he has the ball 19 feet away from the basket, he is never going to threaten anyone on any NBA teams. That's just not something that you would ever game plan for. He doesn't have the wherewithal, the wiggle to get to the rim from wherever he wants. He's a great finisher, so you need guys who can help him finish, and I think that's what Harden was brought in to do. Actually, I think it's fantastic. It just popped into my head. I don't know if you guys remember Roy Hinson. Now, obviously, Evan Mobley is a way better player, but he's very similar to a Roy Hinson, who was the Cavs star back, I guess I'm dating myself, but back in the early 80s. Hinson was a fantastic player, a borderline all-star, but he wasn't just your top-of-the-shelf all-star, which I don't think that Evan Mobley is. There's no shame in that at all. If he's your third best player on your team, you have a top 3 team in the NBA.
Right now, your Charlotte Hornets have gotten up to the 10 spot, and they have been making waves offensively big time. And really, just as a team, what has been a big part of their transformation this season, especially from where they started?
Well, LaMelo's healthy, and LaMelo's playing. He's balling out right now. Con Knipple has elevated everything with just the way that he is able to make shots, draw attention of the defense. Brandon Miller has been healthy. He has made a leap. And Moussa Diabate, who no one will see tonight because he's been suspended for that fight with Jalen Duren. But Diabate has changed everything with his activity in the middle, with his ability to grab rebounds and pressure the backboard. Everyone's playing so well together. It's a young team. It's something just clicked. Sometimes in the NBA you can be bad for years and years and years, and then something just clicks. And it clicked for the Hornets in early January, and they were the best team in the Eastern Conference in the month of January. Our coach, Charles Lee, was the coach of the month, and Brandon Miller was player of the week for the last week of January. Con Knipple, once again, was the Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month. Everyone's playing well and elevating it, and there's a real sense of excitement right now. The Hornets, I think the company line is, you play in and see what we can do, but I think they can get up to 6. I think getting up to 6 and have a guaranteed playoff spot is a total possibility.
This Con Knipple thing is pretty amazing. I mean, his shooting is better than Steph Curry, at least statistically, when he came into the league as a rookie. I mean, how crazy are you guys starting to get about his rookie year?
I never thought I'd see someone with better form and better results than Mark Price. He's Mark Price-esque with a better body. He's actually been born and raised on Wisconsin whole milk. He's going to hold up. Mark was getting clobbered and clotheslined and eventually took his toll. But Con is taking shots. He's hitting the deck. He's getting back up. And he just makes shot after shot after shot. And it just looks like he's going to make the shot. It's fantastic. He's not going to do it. But he's probably going to finish this year 48% from the field, well over 40% from the three-point line and 90% from the free throw line. And guys shooting does not usually get worse over the years. He's coming into the league as a 90% free throw shooter. He's going to finish, I'm telling you, I can't see in the future, but guys who start at 90 kind of finish at 94. He may be the best free throw shooter in the history of the world when it's all said and done. He is such a joy to watch.
Speaking of milk, there might be a call about raw milk coming up and coming in hot at 9:45 this morning. We have Eric Collins on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. Eric, if I was, don't hang up on me for this one. This is not taking any sort of shot whatsoever at the Charlotte Hornets here. If I were Adam Silver, I'd be using your team as the poster child for not tanking. Okay? There's a lot of building going on here. You've been around the league a long time. In your estimation, what's the best way to fix quote-unquote tanking?
I saw great. It's not my idea, but I'm going to poach it from someone. I don't even know where it came from. The teams that are in the lottery, determine an hour before the draft with a coin flip. Heads is you're going to go in one order, tails you go in the other order. So you have no idea if you're going to be picking first or if you're going to be picking 14th, but you know you're going to be in the lottery. I just think that's what a true lottery is. It's a coin flip, and I don't think that you should be rewarded for having the most losses. So you could be, theoretically, if the coin turns out heads and you have the most losses, yeah, you pick first. But if it comes out tails and you have the most losses, you're picking 14th. That would immediately stop all the tanking, and it would just provide high drama. I think that's a decent option right there.
Yeah, the one concern I have with a lot of these ways to rectify the tanking, and obviously this year there are so many players worth tanking for, so you can't even really blame the teams when a third of the league is, trying to lose, and you're seeing these amazing college players. But what about the hope factor? Like, if you are in a NBA city and your team has been bad and they continuously have been bad, the hope is that you want the best player in the draft or the second best player. You want one of those guys because in the NBA, we know that can turn around a team more than any other sport because there's only 5 guys on the floor. Do you worry about maybe, depriving those teams, those cities' fans of hope?
Well, I guess I've seen enough of top draft picks fail to know that that's not an automatic panacea. Deion Waiters was the 4th overall pick, Anthony Bennett went number 1 overall. Andrew Wiggins, nice NBA career, but was he really worth anything like that form of a tank? I don't know. I think if you're creative with the front office, if you're patient with what you do, if you make good decisions, heck, Mark Price was a 2nd-round pick. You can find players in other spots, and I think that's for so many years. I'll even take some blame. It's the Hornets have tried to build through the draft, and the Hornets have had probably more misses than they've had makes over the years because of this philosophy. So I just think good decisions should get rewarded, not necessarily lazy decisions. And I think tanking is a lazy decision, and that's just kind of my process on it.
All right, Eric, Lonzo Ball was a total disaster here in Cleveland, and he's already off the team, and he thinks he's been called the scapegoat for the struggles in the early season. With that said, his brother is making all sorts of news, not just his electric great play on the floor, but what happens when he's off the floor. Are you worried when you're leaving the team garage after games?
LaMelo is an interesting guy. Now, first of all, Lonzo, yeah, they're totally different. Clearly the same DNA, but Lonzo did not have the shooting gene that LaMelo has. LaMelo can actually put the ball in the basket, and he understands that form of it. No shade on Lonzo, but just Lonzo was just not, he's not a great fit. I'm not sure that he's what's happening in the NBA anymore. You need someone who can actually threaten defenses offensively. But LaMelo I feel so great for LaMelo. LaMelo has taken a ton of heat over the years. He's not a winning player. He's not available. Well, I think in the fall, I think maybe someone figured out, hey, LaMelo, the best way to change all these narratives is for you to play at least 28 minutes a night and win. And he's matured, and he's playing great, and the Hornets are responding, and we're getting wins, and he's getting a lot of praise. And so I think that's really kind of cool to remember. Guys aren't finished products when they're 19 and 20 and 21. Sometimes it takes them 5 or 6 years. Sometimes it takes them a different organization or two. But he is figuring it out, and we're winning games. And that's the best thing I can say about a young point guard is your team is winning games, and a lot of it has to do with him.
Real quick, I know that they put us up in rivalry week because of the brothers, which I can't now, ESPN. But is there anything that would ever make you feel that the Hornets and Cavs are a rival until I don't even know if we met in the postseason?
Well, maybe latitude-wise, I think I'm directly right now, probably directly below. That's like the big mystery. Like I'm 3 minutes away from 77. I could just take that right up to Cleveland and be there in 6.5 hours. So maybe directionally, because we're directly due south of you guys. But no, there's no rivalry at all. I can't think of anything.
I just want to I was like, what are we missing here? Okay.
Well, this is one thing. This is one kind of twist of fate. Is Del Curry was a Cavalier when Steph was born. And Steph was born, of course, famously in an Akron hospital. If Wayne Embry and Lenny Wilkens hadn't decided that Craig Elo was a better fit, and he was the one who's going to stop Michael Jordan, than Del Curry, all of the Curry accolades, the Steph Curry high school stuff, the college experience, he wouldn't have gone to Davidson. He probably went to Cleveland State, or he would have went to Akron or something like that. Everything would have been totally different. And we would have like the two greatest active players, both from Northeast Ohio. You know, LeBron and Steph both should have grown up in the same neck of the woods at the same time.
On the same day that Ron Harper tweeted at the show this morning. This is unbelievable.
He didn't like that we were talking about Miami possibly missing the tournament if they lose one game.
Well, he agreed with us. Yeah. He disagreed. He was talking about the selection.
They've been one of the stories of college hoops.
Yeah, Mr. Harper agreed with us. Eric, thank you so much for the time. All the best to you and yours. I obviously hope the Cavs win tonight, but I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your season.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, and go Cleveland Heights, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Eric Collins on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline.
6 hours from Charlotte to Cleveland. That maybe if he's driving with LaMelo Ball.
Coming in hot.
Reckless speculation.
Ain't nothing reckless about it. I mean, you saw it on the news.
Reckless is how he's driving. Yes.